Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 1 of Open Your Eyes. It's a podcast, a talk that I'm going to be doing, just about things that I'm thinking about. Today I was thinking of talking about the obfuscation of language, how it's deliberately and unintentionally, how language is unintentionally and deliberately distorted in our culture. Which stifles the efficiency of communication. It's done unintentionally because language obviously is an evolving process, and the meaning of words changes over time, just by the way people use the words in specific contexts. This can be used to people's advantage in order to associate words with negative or positive emotional reactions, and to distort the truth of our reality, because there are indeed empirical truths to this reality that a lot of people don't want to admit or recognize. And there's a few key words I'll be talking about today. The first one is the word materialism. So materialism is the idea of placing value in physical objects in the physical world, which is not an inherently bad thing as long as it's understood for what it is. There's a lot of positives to material objects that are inherent to living in a material or seemingly material reality. But the word materialism today is often used as a synonym for consumptive practices. But this is not true. A lot of people associate materialism with consumerism when they are two different things. The thing that people have to realize is having material objects and placing value in them isn't a bad thing. It's only bad if the systems that are in place in order to obtain such objects is an entropic system that uses more energy and creates more waste than it puts out. For instance, all of our material possessions basically come from oil in abstract forms or literal forms. Plastics are made from oil. Our entire transport system is based on the consumption of fuels. And all of the objects that we have to consume are dependent on the energy from these systems. So when people are buying food, it's grown using agricultural methods that are completely dependent on fossil fuels. For the pesticides, for the vehicles that plant the seeds, for the transport from the farm to the supermarket, from the refrigeration in the supermarket to going to the supermarket in your cars, putting them in your fridge at home. And all of these things that require energy are based on an obsolete energy infrastructure that only serves the interests of the industries that have a monopoly over energy. So they don't want any energy systems to be possible that aren't entropic. So think about the phone that I'm using to record this. It has been made from plastic, probably using a lot of slave labor in third world countries. So it's not only entropic in terms of the energy used to create it in terms of fuel, but also the people. And these methods aren't necessary. We live in a labour for income-based system that requires people to have jobs. It's more efficient from a market perspective to ship all the parts of the phone, get the parts of the phone from all different places of the world, wherever it's the cheapest, give it to the people that will put it together for the cheapest, and send it back to wherever they're going. And this is not efficient in terms of the energy usage from a completely materialistic scientific perspective, however you want to term it. So the idea that materialism is bad and something that should be avoided is a myth. It's good to have nice things, and that's one of the words that I think people should be cautious of when discussing anything to do with materialism. The other words I was thinking of, I thought about last night, is there's 3 key words that are all interconnected with one another that have obfuscated meanings. Those 3 words are anarchy and anarchy. What was the other word? Just give me a sec. Anarchy, occult, and conspiracy. So if we look at the first word, anarchy, by its true definition, means no rulers. You have the word archon, which means ruler, which is why we have the words patriarchy, monarchy, one ruler, and so on. And the word anarchy means no ruler, you're free of rulers. If you write down on a piece of paper, no rulers, and show it to someone, and ask for their definition of that with one word, they will most likely say something like freedom, not anarchy. And if you say the word anarchy to people and ask them to define it, they'll very rarely say a system that has no rulers, where people rule themselves. And what most people think of when they hear the word anarchy is chaos. Chaos, which is the complete opposite of freedom when you think about it. Because in order to have chaos, in order to have a slavery system like we have now, you have to have chaos. So chaos doesn't mean there's no rules to the physical reality all of a sudden. It means that people aren't abiding by natural law processes, so that because they're living in disharmony with natural law processes, it makes them more vulnerable to manipulation and exploitation. So you can't have a slavery system without having chaos. It's impossible. Because if you have a system where there is efficient methods for organization, for resources and people, then they can organize efficiently in order to avoid being exploited, in order to avoid slavery. But we're still stuck in the paradigm of slavery because we still live in disharmony with natural law processes. And if you get the word anarchy, no rulers, there are people that want people to associate that word with chaos falsely, because they want to create a subconscious fear of having no rulers. The powers that be want people to feel dependent on them emotionally, and this word is arguably deliberately obfuscated through media and other communications. And this word, anarchy, is also related to conspiracy, because the term conspiracy, my definition of it, is the propensity for people to conspire with one another for their own direct self-interests that is in contradiction to the interests of the larger population of humanity and ecosystems and other living entities on the planet. So this word conspiracy, when people use it, they often are using it to refer to abstract, conjectured theories, such as, is there life on Mars because there's evidence of a geometric formation that possibly resembles some kind of artificial man-made or alien-made structure, which you can believe whatever about that you want. It's not the point. But people like to get the word conspiracy and associate it with seemingly far-out concepts like the Loch Ness Monster and things like that, in order to obfuscate truth, to hide the real meaning, so that when people hear the word conspiracy, they immediately block out the information. Oh, that's just a silly theory that you heard on the internet. It has no validity. So if you describe something to people that's in contrast with mainstream ideology, they'll often throw the word conspiracy at you. And you have to pull them up on this and say, whoa, what do you mean by conspiracy? Are you using that word to its true definition? And this is another good thing, because then if you throw the idea that people are conspiring, then, which is, directly reinforced in the market economy. That's what monopoly is, conspiring to get as much land and property as you can at the expense of everyone else. Then if people associate that word with far out stupid concepts, then people won't actually take in the information. And the third word, occult, simply means hidden knowledge. So it's knowledge that exists, and it is either deliberately or unintentionally hidden from public perception. Public meaning is people in general. That's artificially or non-artificially scarce information. For example, the electric car being invented in the 1920s. A lot of people don't know about that, but it was invented in the 1920s, which I find fairly mind-blowing. So that's occult knowledge to a degree. But people often associate the word occult with the word evil or metaphysical, overly speculated information that also has no validity. Oh, you're talking about occult knowledge, you must be talking about conspiracy theories in the obfuscated meaning of the word. Therefore, it has no validity when you talk about occult knowledge. So if you get all these words and you put them together, you can see that it's very beneficial to have these key words obfuscated, so that people don't look through the veil of our social system. Because if we have the word conspiracy, which is directly related to people pursuing their own self-interest against everyone else's self-interest, then you immediately will have occult knowledge. You will have people hiding knowledge deliberately to have a power differential over the other people in a competitive system. And that gives them authority, or perceived authority, which creates a power structure, an authoritarian power structure where there are rulers. So you can't have people placing value on the concept of anarchy either. However, the word materialism, that word is not necessarily deliberately obfuscated, in my opinion, but I think that a lot of sustainability concepts, people that are aware of our corrupt system, use the word materialism with a negative connotation, where what they're actually doing is trying to say that the entropic methods that we actually use to create those material products is unsustainable. And if you understand those four words, when you discuss, culturally challenging ideas, you'll be able to communicate a lot more efficiently with people without leading to heated arguments and so on, because often what we're trying to say to people gets lost in an ocean of misunderstanding, and people completely lose track of what each other is saying. That's just the nature of our language. Yeah.